welcome on to the Vibrational Shift podcast. Today, I am thrilled to be joined by Brenda Amaya, who is someone that I've known for quite some time. We'll get into that in just a second, but today we are going to be talking all about her new self-portrait course called Pose and Embody, and we're going to delve into her journey through recent life changes and how she's used her creativities and skills to build something meaningful. So welcome, Brenda. I'm so glad you could be here today.
Yay, I'm excited to be here.
Yes. So let me tell you all a little bit about Brenda and how I know her. Brenda is a mom of three, a studio owner, a birth worker. That's actually how I met her, and an incredible photographer. Brenda and I met during the pandemic, of all places, through Facebook. Um, I was newly pregnant, and I think the world had literally just shut down because I found her in April. And I wanted to find a doula early because I knew I was going to need the support during that time. And I saw Brenda's message in this birth worker group that I was a part of, because at the time I was teaching before the shutdown. I was teaching about 3 different prenatal yoga classes, and I got added to this birth worker group, and Brenda was asking questions about accessibility for the Latino community as it related to midwives. And I remember thinking, I hadn't seen anyone ask this kind of question before. And so I clicked into her profile and I found her birth work site. And the more that I read about her, she was talking about moon circles and all the things that light me up. And immediately my heart sank when I saw that she was all the way out in Fredericksburg, Virginia, because I didn't know if you would actually take a client that lived as far as I did from you. But we hopped on a call together, and I was asking her a bunch of different questions. I don't even know why, because I knew within the first 5 minutes that I was going to pick her anyways.
That's
Um,
the big oh, you did.
but we had a great conversation, and I signed up with her. And 4 years later, obviously we're still in contact. We've done a lot of collaborations over the last couple of years, and I've just been really honored to have her, number one, be a part of that pregnancy, which was particularly difficult for me, being in isolation, but then also being there and around in the postpartum period, as I was birthing a project. I remember I dragged her all the way out to West Virginia with me right after. I must have been, yeah, I was like maybe 6 months. I was 6 months postpartum, and I had decided I wanted to do my first retreat. And I asked Brenda, can you come take pictures for me in West Virginia at this beautiful place that I found? And I still look at, if you looked at any of my stuff on Instagram, for whoever's listening, or at my website, like, just know that at some point in time, it's touched Brenda's very talented hands, because she has been a huge part of helping me document the vision of what Luna Serenity, the essence of what those spaces feel like, through her lens. So that's a little bit about how I know Brenda, but I welcome you, Brenda, to say anything that I may have missed, just a little bit about maybe how you got into birth work and photography, because I think that'll help us guide the discussion about what you have coming up next.
So photography has been part of my life since I was in high school. And really that's where everything started. That's how I got into birth work. After I had my oldest, I think when she was 3, I photographed my first birth and decided I wanted to be a doula and combine both things. And my photography has completely evolved since. I'm now mostly focusing on empowerment sessions, maternity, branding sessions. I opened a photo studio 2 years ago. I'm in the middle of moving things around and shifting things even more, but photography has been the core thing in my life for a long time.
And since you mentioned empowerment, another thing that Brenda has helped with over the first 3 iterations of the Luna Goddess Retreat, which is a weekend fall retreat that usually happens around Veterans Day, not this year though, is empowerment photo shoots, which I remember when we were brainstorming what that would look like. I had no idea the life that it would take on during those weekends. I've had some past retreat attendees talk about how it was a life-changing pivotal moment in their lives, like to actually be photographed in front of Brenda. Some people get very bold and they go full on naked because they feel that comfortable in her presence. And even like a very wild group. I don't remember what you called it, but it was like wild women in the woods running around naked at the very last one, which I know if you're just tuning in and you don't have the context, like we've done this retreat 3 years in a row, and most of the people who come on that retreat, like we've been together for those 3 retreats. And Brenda, you set an intention, I believe, at the beginning of that weekend, and you said you wanted to explore your creativity. And by the end of it, I feel like you got to do that. Do you want to talk a little bit about that particular experience of taking the women out in the middle of, or early morning, because it was like a sunrise shoot?
We did a lot. And actually, I mean, I think it's like perfect timing for me to finally release those images. um, I often, when I first started doing birth photography, is when I realized, like, okay, people need to feel comfortable. It's this weird thing between, like, I'm photographing people in studio fully clothed, and inviting them to like be so raw with me and helping them feel safe around me is usually a conversation we have during our consultation. If you've seen me, if you're hiring me, you've seen my work, so you know that that's an option, right? It's an option for you to do a tastefully nude session, either in the middle of your session or just that be your session. But during the retreats, it's not something we normally talk about beforehand unless, they have seen the portraits and things like that. So normally what I feel like I do is that I do a photo shoot myself and then I all of a sudden show everyone and I was like, okay, we'll try that too. And they feel comfortable. But I remember that retreat specifically, I really wanted to push the boundaries. I wanted to really get out there and be naked in the woods. And I had quite a few of you guys join me, and it was really fun. It was really fun. I am still, Instagram is a little weird when it comes to nude sessions. They have blocked me before. Have yeah, for
Wow,
a
I
good
didn't
like
know that.
I couldn't even comment on anything, or even like my engagement went down and things like that. So I've tried to like hold back a little bit and figure out how that all works out, but I think I need to put those photos out.
That could be
So
something interesting you do with like carousels where it's tight crops. I'll have to show you an example of what I'm thinking of, but that's wild.
strategic
That
about it.
yeah, like strategic crops, but then also so that if someone is sliding through, it'll be like part one, like the first image is like maybe like right above the chest,
Like
like near the clavicle and up, and then like part two could be. I'll show you what I'm thinking. But with that being said, I think those empowerment shoots, when we've done them before in the past, it's so exciting because I feel like I usually, poor Shelly, who's usually on the retreats with me, I don't know if she did the morning slot this last time around, but whoever goes in the like that very first slot, they usually come down and they're talking about it at breakfast, which gets like everyone excited, talking about like, oh, I wonder what I'm gonna do in mine. Like I brought this. Am I gonna wear this or am I gonna like drop it and just be one with nature, or in the like sometimes we'll do it in a bedroom. Will I be using the silks that Brenda's brought? So it's always a really creative thing that happens between Brenda and the participants. But even I'm sure with people that are coming into the studio and you're doing those sessions as well. Um, can you tell me a
there's
little?
yeah, this happens that I look for that moment and just like bask in the beauty of that every single time, especially at the retreat because most of the women that I'm photographing, they come in a little bit anxious. We have a very short amount of time. It's nothing like a full deluxe session with me where we get a consultation, you get to know me a little bit and we warm up to it. No, we're there to the point. Um, there's a shift that happens. They come in and they're a little anxious, holding back a little bit, and then we start getting in the groove of things. The music is playing, we're vibing, and then I see this shift in them. Especially when I like show them the photos that we've been taking, their face just lights up, and I can feel and physically see the confidence boost in them, and that's a feeling that I always look forward to. And it's a feeling that I've chased myself through self portraits. So it's really, really
Yeah.
fun to witness that.
So I want to shift the conversation a little bit and talk about what led you to create this course. What changes were you going through personally that kind of helped you explore this particular modality of like self portraits? Because she's right. For anyone listening, she would do her own photo shoots. And that's what she was showing people who were at the retreat. You know, they're getting maybe 15-20 minutes with Brenda because it's a short weekend retreat and we're sliding it in between actual sessions that are running, you know, in the yoga room in the same house on the same property. So it is a pretty quick moving photo shoot. But I'm curious if you could talk a little bit about what was happening during maybe the last 2 years of, you know, what led up to the creation of the course, because I remember you talking about it last fall, and I
Forever.
know that, yeah, for a while. So I'd love to maybe hear a little bit more about the story there.
Yeah, so over the past 2 years, I've been going through a separation after being married for 12 years. And at one point, like many of us, we lose ourselves in the midst of motherhood, business owners, um, just regular life things. And I realized, as a homeschooling mom, I was my photos were drowning with kids photos. They were all just my kids. I also did not feel like I was really interested in taking photos of myself, like for why. But at some point, I realized it was time for me to really start prioritizing myself and really focusing on my well being. And somehow I found lots of healing and found my inner confidence through these self portraits. Little by little, it started off like, okay, I'll just set up my camera. The lighting looks good here. Let's just create something. And it became a ritual. Really, when I would be feeling some heavy emotions, that usually would be the time that I would just put something on and find the right lighting and take some photos. Sometimes they would be like dark photos, like really feeling out my emotions and getting creative in that. And sometimes just some fun photos to really showcase, what I was feeling that day.
So tell me about the ritual aspect of it. I love how ritual can be really healing, whether it be meditation, lighting a candle, whatever the ritual might be. But it sounds like maybe you had, and I just having participated in a lot of shoots with you over the years, I'm curious, what did that look like for you? What was the ritual? Was it like picking out the playlist beforehand? What did it look like?
Yes, definitely a playlist. That's always a must. Usually, as we started the separation process, he started having the kids more often, and I finally was having time to myself. And I found that in between that, I made some time to just show up in front of the camera and start my music. Maybe I would work out before, or just randomly, I would randomly just put on my playlist and get in front of the camera and start trying to create something whenever I had the space to do it. And at this point, I'm like, I have so many little self portrait sessions with all sorts of emotions. And it really showcased like that journey for me of healing and finding the confidence.
We're going to go deep 5 days, 4 nights in Tulum, Mexico for the fall equinox self-empowerment retreat. And it's all about this notion of how do we find balance, equanimity in our lives. And so I hope you'll join us. And for podcast listeners today, I am offering a special deal. Make sure to email me hello@lunaserenity.com for all of the details and to snag your special discount plus one of the last spots to this retreat. It is September 19th through the 23rd in Tulum, Mexico. I hope to see you there.
To show up and to see myself as I am in that moment, because a lot has changed, like physically for me and emotionally. And at first it was really hard. It was really hard to get in front of the camera. I've always been in front of the camera, but it's different when you're in this dark space and full of emotions to say, I want to take photos of myself. No one really wants to do that. But I faced my shadows. I felt like in those moments, I showed up for myself fully and gave myself some grace for all the things that I was going through. And it helped me. It's helped me throughout this whole process.
I love that. Only because I know you. I know that there were other things that you were doing as well, right? Like you started to talk about the exercise piece. But and this is called the vibrational shift. And I was scrolling through, I was like, wow, I've talked to a lot of people when I was doing this, when I had originally started. And every time I'd ask people, like, what were the tools that you were leaning on during major moments of transition in your life? And so we obviously know photography for you. And you're right. There is something about when you're in that dark space or in that space of moving through heavy emotions, like the last thing you want to see is a camera that's going to capture that and be like, oh, I really don't like how I feel. Do I really want to be in front of the camera right now? But what were some of the other tools that you were doing or that you had access to that were helping you get through that?
Therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Therapy on Thursday nights or Friday nights. That was my big thing. Community's been a big thing. My friends and family have really showed up for me. I love like new projects. New projects always make me excited and give me life. That in the midst of my whole separation, I decided to open a photography studio. In 2 years, it's been open for 2 years. I don't even know how that happened really, because I was in the midst of my darkest time when I opened the studio.
Mm.
Yeah, so therapy, community, movement has been a big thing. So yoga, cycle, running, and all of that in like small doses. And just gradually it's become part of my lifestyle. And I feel a big difference now, not only because I have the capacity to show up for myself more and have more space without my children now that I can, put into myself, but because I needed those things. Like those things really kept me grounded. And it's been a season of different things that I have supported me. Body work has been another big thing. I remember when I was in the middle of like moving from the family home, and like we sold the family home, making sure I was scheduling a session with my body work lady. That was really important for me. Yeah.
Were you doing like massage or was it other kind of body work, like energy work as well?
She did sobadas, so it was a full combination of things, and she's amazing. Now I normally only see her after a birth, and it's my time to decompress from the birth. Normally I show up and I'm like, I'm crying. It's just like, oh, you had a long birth. Yeah, I did. Just do your thing.
Wow. I think as someone who's not immersed in the birth work life, right? That's something that I never really thought about until I had a conversation with you at one of the retreats and you were telling me about how you were going to take a pause for a little bit. And or maybe not taking them as frequently like you were saying at the beginning of our time together right now. I mean, that's a lot to hold. Like when you're holding space for someone in a circle is one thing, but you're there during a huge transition. Like it feels like you're probably dancing in between the worlds. And isn't that like the meaning of your last name too? Right? Like you go behind the veil, like you're able to live in both the spirit world and the physical world. And I'll laugh really hard if I just made that up. But I
It's
think
just like,
I did.
did you? I don't remember what your question was. Did you say my last name or?
Yeah, I don't know why I thought that. I could have sworn Amaya.
Or
Oh,
maybe I don't know.
we had this conversation, Brenda. I feel like at some point I'm gonna look it up and I'm gonna tell you that I think that's what it was, but maybe not. Anyways, putting that aside, I think about like I've only given birth twice, right? But you've been to dozens of births, and
69 birth, 69.
oh my gosh, I feel like you
It's
were maybe in the 20.
7 years.
That's that's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. And I know like so I ended up switching from what was going to be a hospital birth to a home birth, but having given birth in both a hospital setting and at home, I know that they are so different, right? So hearing you say, I'm going off on a tangent here because I know we didn't talk about this before we started recording. Um, but even hearing, like that the body work is something that's necessary as you are coming back and having to like move back into the rest of your day, like moving back into being a mom, being a
Regular
studio
life.
owner.
No, I mean, a birth is so life altering, and witnessing that, it's heavy. It's heavy not only physically because I'm supporting clients physically, but emotionally, it's a lot. It's a lot to process. Adrenaline, all of the hormones are going wild. On top of that, all the other regular life things that are, that I had to put together to be there in that moment and be fully present and leave all my baggage at the door. Um, it's a lot. It's a lot, and I have to be fully on. I mean, I had my last birth no, not 5 like a month ago, and that was hard. That was a lot of work, and I finally decided that I need to take a break fully from birth work, because it's just a different season of life. Being on call is a lot of moving pieces, being a business owner on top of that, and having to run a studio while being at a birth. I mean, that really, this past month, everything has just been falling all over the place. That day that I was at the birth, I was managing a rental here while being at the birth and showing up fully, and it's been a lot of work, a lot of work. So
Yeah, I can't even
take a
imagine.
break, need repeat clients or referrals, and I definitely need a body work after that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. So, um, I want to talk about Pose and Embody, which is a new course that you have getting ready to be released in just under a month. Doors will close in about a month. Um, can you tell me a little bit of what I know that we've touched on it some, but the inspiration for Pose and Embody, like when you had the thought of the course, what prompted that? I can assume from what you've shared, like where it started, but at what point were you like, wait, I need to turn this into something for other people to easily access?
Probably about a year ago when I started feeling the shift after seeing those photos and how far not only my life had come, but how I documented all of that. I think there's something about showing up in that moment when you are feeling raw and full of emotions and facing your shadows and looking in the mirror and saying, like, I accept myself for who I am right now in this moment. And as I evolve and grow and heal. And so, Pose and Embody is a course for healing and finding your inner confidence through self portraits. It is not a professional photography course. This is for women that are going through any big life transition, whether it's motherhood, going through a separation or divorce, or just are feeling in this space in their life where they want to level up and face their shadows and show up for themselves and commit to that work a little bit. So I'm gonna guide them through an experience of creativity, and I have a lot of really fun like rituals and prompts that I'm gonna help to help you open up and show up in front of the camera as you should.
And so, hearing a little bit about that, can you tell me and the listeners the format that'll take? So, is it live sessions? Is it a self-guided content? What does it look like?
So the first round of it is going to be live through Zoom, and there's 3 sessions after this launch. It's going to be fully automated. I'm going to have like a community where we're going to touch base. We're going to do a few challenges and kind of keep each other accountable. Our first session together is going to be really diving into like your purpose and how you want to show up in these self portraits, facing some of your shadows, thinking about your story and how you want to capture that, and kind of getting into that ritual space of facing, being in front of the camera. During our second session, we're going to go into some photography. We're going to talk about lighting. And this is not, you're not doing professional photography. You are going to figure out your angles. We're going to get in front of the mirror and play around a little bit. I'm going to teach you all of my favorite poses. I'm making a little app that has like my top 20 poses. Just really learning how to work your body and start just throwing all of the different angles together and working the lighting. And then during our second session, we'll do some basic editing and dive deeper into doing more creative type of sessions, and even documenting like your dark moments when you're feeling sad and crying, and how to show those emotions through your portraits. Yeah.
Are they going to learn the Brenda?
They are definitely
For anyone listening,
oh,
there was
I feel like
a
everyone knows this.
oh, well,
I
sorry.
think it's like a self-coping thing. Like if I'm on video, I have to like be doing something. Like right now, I'm trying really hard to keep my hands down.
Yeah,
But yeah, they'll learn the Brenda too.
they'll learn the
That's one of
Brenda.
my top 20 poses.
And the reason I know it is because she guided me through it for my first maternity session that I did with her. I remember I was so uncomfortable behind the camera, and you made it not be uncomfortable. And you're like, my friends call this the Brenda. And then you did it. And then I started laughing. And then it was so much easier to just like do different poses. So for those of you taking the course, you'll get to see what the Brenda is. I use it all the time. And I can't wait for you all to see it as well.
I was
Uh,
not planning on including that, like, the Brenda,
oh.
but I guess we'll do that. I mean, it's definitely a pose that's gonna be in there, but
Yeah. All right. So I have a question I had shared before we started recording, asking folks if they had any questions for you. And I actually did get a question about something that I learned from you. I learned a lot of things from you. And one of them was, I think it was like 1 month postpartum. It was right after I had had Sage. And you launched a course in November of 2020. It was a mother blessing course. And people want to know, will you do it? What is a mother blessing course look like? And how can they get more info?
a mother blessing is a celebration that you put together for a pregnant lady, a pregnant parent. And it's a time of gathering community and holding space for them and really showing up for them and planning their postpartum too. That's usually how I use it for my clients. That's the time where I get to meet their family, talk to them, and let them know how they can show up for them in postpartum. The course is available to purchase. I'm in the middle of automating it, but really you can go to my website, purchase the course, and I will add you to the Facebook group where we have, I think, 5 units, and you'll be able to watch the videos and get all the templates and things in there. Yeah.
Awesome. How can people get in contact with you? How can they find you on all of the different social channels? I don't know what your handles are anymore because I know you recently changed them.
I did just make a big shift there. So right now it's Brenda Amaya LLC. And yeah, I'm on Instagram, on TikTok. You can find me there and connect with all of my different things.
And then for those that are interested in doing in-person sessions with you, You mentioned a couple minutes ago that the studio might be moving. Are you still going to be offering sessions at your current location? And then when do you think you'll land with a new location?
Currently, I should be here for the next month. So we're offering sessions here in the studio for the next month. Hopefully, we will have a new location by July. I'm in the midst of looking at spaces nonstop. I think I found a location. We'll see how that goes. But I'm still booking sessions. I would, if the studio is not done over there, I would rent another studio or we'll photograph outdoors. I am shifting a lot of things. I'm hiring associate photographers for the next studio. So you'll have a lot more options and more accessible options to be photographed in the studio. So that's really, really exciting. I'm so ready for that.
It's amazing, Brenda. That's that's great to hear the expansion that's happening there. And folks can find information about the studio where?
Amaya Studios LLC on Instagram.
Okay. All of that will be linked in the show notes. So just make sure to take a peek over there if you are interested in working one-on-one with Brenda or at the studio once she's at her new location with, it sounds like some additional photographers that she'll be bringing on. But don't forget, people, if you are interested in doing this course with Brenda, doors close in about a month from when we're recording. So just check your calendar, July 10th, and it kicks off on July 11th.
As with every episode, I like to close with a short and supportive practice. So I invite you to take a moment to find a comfortable position. Maybe that is exactly as you are, seated. If you'd like to lie down, you can do that as well. But just know that this meditation is a short amount of time for you. Looking to find your inner confidence as you navigate your big life transition can be a practice of patience. And maybe you're learning to face your shadows. Maybe you're in a moment in transition where you can feel yourself stepping into this new version of you. And just as predicted, it can become uncomfortable. When we're learning and unlearning ways of being, we have to learn how to settle into the present moment, which can be so uncomfortable sometimes. And other times, not at all. These next few moments are an invitation to find your breath, to notice the places where it feels elusive. Is it at the top of the breath? To even take that breath in? Or maybe it's at the end as you try to take in more. But wherever you're at, notice the sensations that are present. On your next breath in, maybe you ask yourself, is it all right if I expand the breath by just a little? And as you exhale, asking yourself, what can I let go of in this moment? With the loud, audible exhale. Maybe on your exhales, you invite yourself to let go of any false concepts of who you are. Maybe it's something you've been telling yourself that you know just simply isn't true. Oftentimes when we are in moments of transition, in phases of transition, it is very easy to fall back on false narratives. Narratives that support what your shadows want you to believe. But with any thought and every thought that comes to mind, you always have the right and the permission to ask yourself, is this thought true? Take 3 expansive breaths in here in this moment, breathing in deeply through the nose. And an exhale audibly through the mouth. 2 more just like that, breathing in and out. One last breath here, taking it all in deeply through the nose. Biggest breath yet, and then let it all go. Notice how you feel in this moment. Notice the things that you've decided to get curious about letting go. May you have the courage and the compassion to continuously show up for yourself, to find that inner well of creativity, and to challenge those false narratives that you may or may not be holding on to. Thank you for joining me on the Vibrational Shift today, and a special thank you to our guest, Brenda Amaya. I will see you all soon.